That's what it's about. You know, covering up all of these horrors that people, you know, we talk about human rights, human rights, human rights. Human rights begins within the home. Until we are treating those around us with respect and dignity and human rights, it'll never go, you know, it'll never exist in a larger platform. It doesn't matter how many people get up, give a speech, how many people publish books.
Proper paperwork because they work with different prosecutor. And
she is alleging that in this situation that these families in these third world areas or in these war-torn areas, that they have many children and they can't afford them, which, you know, anyone that has 4 or 5 or 6 kids can understand. They're expensive. So what's happening is she's alleging that these people are going in and they are basically illegally, with improper documentation, promising to take care of the children, and then the children are leaving with them, and who knows what's happening after that. That's kind of her allegation.
The child support, whatever agency they have at that time, and they were paid. So they steal like 86,000 kids from Romania, and they send it to UK, Israel, and I don't know if other countries all over the world. They were and nobody knows what those kids, they end up.
She's saying that 86,000 kids so far have been unaccounted for and they don't know where they ended up at. Now, again, this is just allegations, but I found this all very interesting. Now, this is just kind of a side note because I was doing my research, but there is a adult video called Romanian Angels. I'm sure it's unrelated, but I thought that was very interesting. Now, what really triggered me to start digging into some of this stuff in this video specifically was Canadian prepper, who I've been watching for years. He had a video with this guest here. I'm going to show you parts of it, but he basically works in war-torn areas, and his whole purpose is to protect people like this that are getting exploited. And he shares some gems.
In crisis zones and disasters, these criminals that you're talking about, they're drawn to that. They recognize the opportunity because they're opportunists. So they recognize, okay, there's people that I can exploit, there's resources I can exploit. I'll give you a case in point. When we were in Ukraine, our mission at the behest of the government, this wasn't us just freelancing, was to rescue orphans that were on the front line, get to them first before the criminal element, the criminal gangs could get them and take them away.
Right. Okay, so he's saying that in Ukraine, part of his job was to go and get the children that were orphaned or just separated from their parents, get them before the criminal element does, right? So one thing that he'll bring up here in a second is it's very common anywhere in the world where there is war, even just a natural disaster, any type of tragedy, these opportunistic criminals and human exploitationists, we'll call them, they come in and they start doing this kind of behavior. And they do it because in a lot of cases they can make a lot of money. So again, it's, you know, capitalism.
Take them across the border into Belarus, Romania, wherever they were going. And there were times where we showed up at the same time. And they were working.
So really quick there, if you heard what he said that these criminal traffickers and these gangs would take the children into Romania. So I just thought that was interesting as well, because the Ukraine war, Romania, Romanian Angels, and people are alleging that there was some funny business going on with these children.
Out in the open, Russians weren't shooting at them. Ukrainians didn't really know who they were, so they weren't shooting at them. And it was a race against time to get to these orphanages and get the kids first and get them to safety, get them to where the government wanted them, where they could actually watch over them, get them away from these front lines.
People who are trying to traffic them.
People who are trying to traffic them. I mean, 1 month into the war, they admitted there were 20,000 children missing.
So he said in just 1 month, there were 20,000 children missing. And I assume that the government was telling him that there was 20,000 children missing. In 1 month. This war's been going on for years. Yep. This is insane.
And that estimate's gone up. I don't know what it's at now, 10x.
What's even
Of children, they
more
just don't know where they are.
insane
That's
is,
in,
as he says, this is happening, where we have war zones, violence, poverty. It's happening everywhere, but it's much more prevalent and much more difficult for obvious reasons in those areas. Well, then let's stop with the unending wars. Not rocket science.
a war zone. It's exactly the same in disaster zones. They show up, they recognize, and the reason why I mention the exploitation is because that's the fastest growing criminal trade on the
But
planet.
these are the nonprofits.
When prediction markets become sports books, they put consumers and the integrity of sports at risk. Prediction markets are undermining state authority and targeting teenagers with no safeguards. It's time for the CFTC to do its job and stay out of sports betting.
So there you go. He says that one of the fastest growing criminal trades, that one of the fastest ways to make money is to exploit human beings. And now, remember too, in the previous administration, when the borders were open, there was a lot of allegations of this happening too. There were children that would come in through the border from all the South American countries, and I know other countries drop people off and down there too. But what was happening is the cartels, they would charge people, and then the cartels would get them across the border, and then those people would be indebted to the cartels. That's another form of human exploitation. So this is just a very widespread thing, and I think it's always happened since the beginning of humanity. It's just now it's more talked about. There's more video. There's more traces of it. But this is something that is a huge issue everywhere.
Even here in Canada and in the United States, when they're being exploited, which our two countries, by the way, are two of the biggest consumers of child exploitation. And I specifically targeted Canadians when I was working down in the Caribbean. I won't tell you what island.
So he just said that the U.S. and Canada are the biggest consumers. So that means that, yes, there is human exploitation happening within all 50 United States. But in these third world countries where stuff's happening, like in Ukraine and Romania, with these allegations happening over there, they could be getting them there, but people here in the US and in Canada are the ones who are consuming them. In some cases, possibly literally, right? But I find that very interesting. So basically, the third world is the market, and the US and Canada is where they're making their purchases. Very disturbing. Erica's nonprofit was called Everyday Heroes Like You, Inc., and it's registered in Scottsdale, Arizona, 501(c) public charity, and it has the address and everything. I found it interesting, if you click on their URL, it takes you to Erica's proclaim365.com, where she has her shop and her Bible and 365 and all that stuff there. I found that very interesting. So I went on to ChatGPT, and I know you guys love ChatGPT. But I went on there and I asked it, I said, basically, was there any involvement of Erica Kirk in any of the stuff with Ukraine, period, like any of it. And it says, as far as money, influence, citizenship, official cooperation, etc., nothing credible shows up in the public record. All the Ukraine-related stuff around here looks like disinformation aimed at weaponizing Charlie's assassination, not genuine connections. So I thought this was very interesting as well. Obviously, you have criminals that are doing this type of exploitation. But look at this. Family members are involved in nearly half of child exploitation cases. That's insane. So recruitment into trafficking, roughly 41% is from family. That's terrible. Intimate partner, 14%, 11% friends, and 34% other. So that means of all the humans, adults and children that are exploited, only 34% is coming from maybe these gangs and like the big global trades and stuff like that. 41% is from family. And then they end up in begging, domestic work, hospitality, kind of, forced to work these resorts and things like that. And then, of course, illicit activities. You say is only 6%. So typically when you think of human exploitation, your first thought is illicit activities. But according to this, it's a very small percentage. They're being exploited in other ways, basically slaves. And it says main methods of control, psychological. That would be threatening them telling them they're not good enough and they have no other purpose in life and things like that, right? And then physical, forcing them into it physically. And then, of course, you have this one, 10%, and then basically being drugged, which, there's some movies that have talked about stuff like that. There's one with Denzel Washington where he was drugged and he did a videotape and they showed it to his wife. Now, saying gender-wise, about 66% are female, which makes sense. I think it's probably maybe a little bit higher than that, but there are some males that are definitely part of this. And it says the majority of children that are exploited for this reason, 67% are between 15 and 17 years old. And I thought it would only be fair to fact check the claims that Erica Kirk's charity was ever tied to trafficking. As conservative activist Erica Kirk publicly mourned her husband Charlie, social media users targeted her work on Romanian charity project. So let's look down here and see what they say. Did y'all know Erica Kirk is banned from Romania because her evangelical group is accused of trafficking children out of Romanian villages? One person said on X. Lots of posts like that.
That's true.
Kirk, whose maiden name is Francie, founded the nonprofit organization Everyday Heroes Like You, which aimed to assist other charities. So it's a charity that helped other charities. That work included an international Romanian Angels project that teamed up with the U.S. Marine Corps to sponsor a Romanian orphanage, Kirk once told Arizona Foothills magazine. So if that is the case, then that means if this was true at all, which, this is going over the facts here. If it was in fact true that the U.S. Marine Corps was teaming up with her and she was doing that, then that means that the United States would also be implicated there, right? So what's the evidence for these claims? They're saying there isn't any. Some posts repeat baseless narrative without giving any hint about where it originated or providing sources. One of the earliest posts they found said Kirk's organization was linked to missing Romanian children and trafficked and included screenshots of 2 articles. The first was an Israeli newspaper, Haaretz, was about a Romanian investigation into Israeli adoption agencies and an international conspiracy to sell children's organs for transplants. Now, we do know
what is going on.
Not necessarily this particular case I'm looking at right now, but there are many cases where these humans that are trafficked, especially children, do get harvested for organs. That's been seen in many countries. It's not just Ukraine. This is kind of universal. And again, it's for money, and it's for, in a lot of cases, it's for elites and people to get organs that they want to use in their bodies to live longer. And we kind of heard something from, I think it was it was a meeting with like Xi Jinping and Kim Jong-un and also Putin. He was kind of like a hot mic moment where he basically said, like, with, transplanting of organs and stuff, we can basically live forever, right? So it says the report did not mention Kirk, Romanian Angels, or Everyday Heroes. Kirk was only 13 years old when that report was published. So clearly it couldn't have been about her. The second was a 2023 article, media organization founded that reports internationally, including Romania. It details the stories of Romanian children, now adults, who were adopted internationally and who sought information on the Romanian births, including some people who were concluded that they were trafficked as children. The report also did not mention Kirk, Romanian Angels, or Everyday Heroes Like You. So we have a lot of sources that are making allegations and they're saying these things, but they don't really have proof. I just thought it was interesting in that Canadian prepper video where the guy basically specifically says Ukraine and specifically says Romania. That's what really made that connection for me, and it just kind of piqued my curiosity. Yeah. The flyer says people can change the life of Romanian orphans this holiday season by adopting a child. Now, again, according to that other woman, she alleges that they were taking children without proper documentation, and then they were selling them off or shipping them away to other countries, and no one knows where they ended up. An archived version of Everyday Heroes Like You website says the project involved a partnership with U.S. service members and United Hands Romania. They contacted the U.S. Marine Corps and U.S. Army to ask about the partnerships, and they did not hear back. Oana Prasakariu, I probably butchered that, United Hands Romania's vice president, told us the organization had collaborated with Kirk, then Eric Francie, who personally sponsored gifts for children at Antonio Placement Center. Now, that's what I heard it was basically the shipment of gifts to children. It wasn't a adoption type of ring or something similar. We never heard or received any bad reports about her personally. Romanian media reported Erica Kirk's Everyday Heroes Like You made donations in the form of gifts to Antonio Placement Center in Constanta, as well as the local hospital between 2011 and 2015. There's no evidence that the ministries were involved in actual international adoptions. A local newspaper article documented the gift donations to the orphans. So a lot of people are saying that these international adoptions are happening.
When prediction markets become sports books, they put consumers...
You know, as he's saying, it's really not, it doesn't seem like Erica was involved in any wrongdoing there. That might, but it would be interesting to know what that whole thing was about. Because if the military is involved in some nonprofit or something, it's a cover for it. Now this, and you know, I'm one of these people who, from the beginning, well, from the very day that Charlie Kirk was shot, I was like, day before 9/11, sounds suspicious to me. I don't trust anybody in this city. You got to prove your innocence. You're guilty until you prove your innocence. I'm sorry. That's where I'm at with the American government or any government. And a lot of the ruling elite, I know. So anyway, yeah, I didn't buy that. But, and I do find Erica's demeanor, reactions highly suspicious, from the very beginning. Having said that, I mean, I was fit to be tied when I saw on LinkedIn, there was, and you know, these people bashing Erica, the trad wife, Erica Kirk. And I was like, God, you little bitches. Because first, you know, you're attacking her as a trad wife because she's a stay-at-home mom. I mean, if you were attacking her because you were saying, God, she's really weird, the way she's responding, that's one thing. But you're attacking her because she's a dedicated stay-at-home mom. And I mean, these ladies were vicious. So anyway, I won't go into that. That was, which one was that? That was a couple of videos again that I did. I forget if that's the numbered one, but you do have the link there. That is on my YouTube channel. And this was, I did a book review, if you will. I still haven't finished it. It's Virginia Giuffre's memoirs. I think this is the one that was submitted to the courts and that she had written all by her little lonesome and had never been published. And I'm going to assure you that girl needed somebody to help her publish a book or write a book, because her, I mean, atrocious. It's incredible. Every high school kid should be able to read and write respectively. I mean, absolutely atrocious. So anyway, you can look at those. Now, this gets into, see, when I started my whole Global Expats project, this is about the, you know, stay-at-home wives, stay-at-home moms, and strong families. I mean, everything that the Trump administration and MAGA and the conservatives say that they're about. But, you know, it's all smokes and mirrors and false rhetoric. So Global Expats and everything that I'm doing is modeled after the Expat Wives Clubs. Well, this is just, you know, one example of, I mean, you can go in there and all of these different, FACO Foundation, FACO. It was started in 1931 by Carolyn Curtis Brown, the wife of a publisher in London, an American publisher in London, Albert Curtis Brown, who believed that enlightened women could do much to promote world peace. I'm like, yeah, the key word is enlightened. So this whole, you know, Expat Wives Club needs to explain itself. Here's the, you know, the trajectory kind of what they were doing. As I say, everybody else is following their lead, which amongst those is World Bank Group Family Network, IMF Family Association, the UN, Local Expat Spouse Association, and you've got the federal, what is this, the Foundation, Association of American Residents Overseas. There are all sorts of them. Association of the American Foreign Service Worldwide, American Citizens Abroad. All of these different expat associations are just propagandists and in bed with corporate greed and the State Department and the military-industrial complex. And I want to see them all in court. You know, Pam Perot, she's here, she is. Pam Perot. Here's FACO for the CEDAW. CEDAW is the Convention on Elimination of Discrimination Against Women. Well, the case that I prepared against Spain challenges their defense in González Carreño versus Spain, 2014, which is a CEDAW case. Now, why Pam Perot said, well, with global expats, you're just reinventing the wheel. I'm like, no, I'm fixing the wheel, and I'll see all of you all in court. We have submitted to the International Criminal Courts under crimes against humanity. And this gets into the Nuremberg laws. I should have. So these are the Nuremberg laws, but the case that has been submitted to the International Criminal Courts is by a woman, Barbara Stone, in Florida. And my understanding is we've had it submitted, but I care. But one of the here it is, the official trailer.
Morning, Miss Peterson. I'm sorry.
This is the Elderly Protection Services. Yeah, this is the great American dream that Trump and all the MAGAs want to protect and maintain. But the point is Barbara Stone, who is the one who submitted to the International Criminal Courts, what she examined is what she calls the Nuremberg laws that have been passed in the United States. Her focus, her mother, it was elderly abuse, and the Guardian ad litem scams there, but that is still family court. So it is, we do have, cases involving children submitted there as well. My understanding is it was submitted. I wasn't involved in preparing that, arguing that, that's fine. If everybody would work together, we'd get farther. So anyway, these, we go into, everybody's going, Nazis. I'm like, you guys, history is repeating itself, and everybody is complicit, both the left and the right, are producing this situation. And so we go into here the Nuremberg laws, the Nuremberg trials. And I bring this up because everybody who keeps on ignoring me and complicit and says, shut up, stupid, shut up, stupid, shut up, stupid. You don't know what you're talking about because you don't have a PhD and nobody will give you a 3-figure salary. And you're just a stupid housewife who should go and shut up and go and jump off a bridge. I've heard that one from everyone. My favorite is my sister. So I've been there, done that. That's not happening. So, when everybody says, shut up, stupid, you know what? You're the one who's stupid here. So really should shut up. That's not working. But, I mean, the parallels with all the propagandists, y'all should really, really, really be checking out the Nuremberg trials because, and all of the military, there's a lot of people who I was just doing my job. I was just following orders. It's not going to be acceptable. Now, in the Nuremberg trials after World War II, the defendants, they said, wait a second, there were no laws making what we did illegal. And they were right. They were still found guilty and, some were shot to death. They were right. However, same is not true today. No, we've got national laws. We've got RICO, Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, and Enemy Alien Act, which I've argued against the United States. I mean, Baron Goldman, that's another one. I said, oh, well, he's January 6th. Maybe he'll be interested. He'd make a lot of money. No, he's too busy trying to make some money off of a podcast on the internet to worry about billions in legal fees that he could be making. So anyway, well, maybe he'd just get millions. Yeah, I'd be getting the billions. He'd be getting millions. So anyway, I mean, any lawyer who can help me, I can assure you. As Candace points out, any lawyer who says to you, 100%, no worries, you better find yourself a new lawyer and I'll hire that one. But I've been doing this, as I say, for 20 years. And when it started, I told the lawyers and I told everybody, fuck with me, I'll fuck with you. And I'm not a good person to fuck with. And you touch my kids, you go after my kids, to the ends of this earth. And I guess that's where we're headed. Unfortunately, it's going to get real dirty, I think. So anyway, that is, why everybody, anybody who is saying this, Mitch Snow, no, he's making it up, he's a grifter, no, I'm sorry. This guy is not lying. Not at all. I can smell a con artist coming a mile away, and he is not. So, have a nice evening. Bye-bye.